This is the smallest music player ever that HIBY has ever created. And this is the HIBY R1, their $85 HIBYOS non-Android music player. And I've spent about a week with this tiny little cutesy thing. And I would like to share my experiences and impressions about this device, starting with the specifications. Now for the specifications, the HIBY R1 features a CS43131 DAC running the Ingenic X1600E on HIBYOS, and this is an upgrade from their previous X1000E powered DAPs, but we'll see the actual performance in real-world usage. Now this also features Bluetooth 5.1, 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, up to 2 TB storage support, and 5 additional colorways aside from my white one that I'll show a picture here on the screen right now, along with a value pack that comes with more accessories and a free IEM paired with a 32 GB storage SD card. So that's awesome. You basically get the entire package just for an additional $15. So that's an awesome value pack. Now talking about the feel of the DAP, this is obviously not a premium feeling DAP by any means, and it's just plastic all around. As you can see here, you can see the sides are plastic right there, the frame is plastic, the buttons are plastic, and well, you know, what can you expect from an $85 music player? However, the back is made from glass, which I thought was to be awesome. And obviously the front panel is also glass, but it does come with its own screen protector pre-applied, so you don't have to apply it yourself. But it also supposed to come with a screen protector additional with the package, although mine is just the DAP right now, so I can't really show what it looks like. Now, as you can see, that our screen here is touchscreen. Yes, no buttons up on the screen, but as you can see here, it is a surprisingly big screen for such a small device. Now this is a 3-inch 800 by 400 IPS screen. Yes, $85 for an IPS screen. Really cool. We'll talk more about the quality of the screen itself in a little bit. Now with the screen out of the way, we can talk about the overall aesthetics of the DAP. As you can see here, we have this really cool transparent looking design. I love that they've been going for this like transparent look for a lot of their DAPs nowadays, and I thought it's pretty cool. Although in this case, this like low-key more translucent design, you can barely see the internals, you can see the battery and not really much more, but still pretty cool. And now you can see also the buttons here on the side. We have the power button, the volume rocker here, and this is actually just a pause and skip button. Pause, play, and skip. There is no recall button, so if you're looking for something like that, the R1 doesn't have that. So yeah, now this also features the SD card on the bottom, as well as the Type-C and the 3.5mm jack right here, all neatly placed. And like what they did with the M300 and R4, it features a lanyard holder or a charm holder. I plan to put like a really cute charm on this, or just like be functional and put a lanyard, but we're gonna see what I do with this in the future. I'm definitely gonna be making more videos about the R1, like about different features, but more on that later. Now this really isn't the most premium looking or feeling product out there in the market by no means, but I do think that this is perfectly adequate for the price that it's asking for. It is nothing more than $100, but it is durable enough to last, you know, a couple of drops and stuff like that. So commendable. Now talking about the screen, I'm genuinely surprised how crisp the screen is. Now obviously it's 800 by 480 and 3 inches. It's tiny, and the PPI is probably pretty high here, but still going to something like, I don't know, let's go to Kid Amnesia here, and the cover art, and that looks really good. Now we can obviously adjust the thing here. We'll talk about that later. Actually, I really like that feature. But as you can see here, I don't know if the camera can see it properly, but the colors are really nice and just like really crisp. I don't really see like the pixels to be too obvious there, and I thought that was pretty freaking awesome, and I really enjoy that. But anyways, that's for the screen. For other parts, for usage, I would like to preface this by saying that this is a DAP running on HIBYOS that's non-Android, which means you cannot download apps on this. You cannot. maybe plugins in the future, but you cannot download Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. You cannot do that. I have had a lot of questions about people asking, can I download this? Can I download that? No, you cannot. You can download anything here. It's not supposed to download anything. But what this does have is Tidal and Qobuz streaming. As you can see here, as we come back to the settings right here, this has Qobuz and Tidal streaming. Now I'm going to make a more conclusive or a more in-depth video about the streaming capabilities of this DAP, but I did get to try this and I've made a post about it on Audio Notions and my pages as well. And least to say, extremely bare bones. Basically, you get streaming, you get the search stuff, you get favorite stuff, what you have in your, I specifically use Tidal, but what you have in your playlist and stuff like that, it's going to show up here. You can't download anything. You can stream super duper high res stuff. It just says FLAC, but you get to stream with such a tiny and cheap device. I'd say that's still a win. Now, like I mentioned, this also features Wi-Fi support, as you can see here. And what the Wi-Fi allows you to do is to do something like import music via Wi-Fi using DLNA and AirPlay. And this is supposed to have HIBY'S in the future firmware, but I don't have it right now. So maybe in the future firmware, we're gonna see more about the HIBY'S here, which I thought it's pretty cool stuff, but not really have it right now, so I can't really test it out. But those are some of the uses that you can have with the Wi-Fi of this DAP. Now for music and storage, this will require you to have a SD card. This does not have any internal storage, unfortunately. But again, at this price, you don't really expect to have internal storage, at least reliable internal storage. So you're gonna need at least what, like, well, there's no least, but the most that you can upload or have for this is a 2 terabyte SD card. For the amount of music that you can add, I don't have that ridiculously big playlist reaching hundreds of thousands, so I can't test that personally, as much as I love to. But I know some insane people would be able to try that, and I'd love to see what you guys do with the R1 if you ever try it out. But for my 1,800 playlists, it was running perfectly functional, didn't have any issues. Now, one of, like, I guess, like, my personal things that I was expecting the R1 to have was external DAC support, both for Bluetooth and for wired. Unfortunately, as I was scrolling through these settings and going to the USB working mode, I did not find a way to use this with an external DAC, or use as an external DAC. Sorry, let me clarify this, because I've had issues like explaining this to other people. You cannot use this as an external DAC. You can use this with an external DAC, say something like this Dunu DTC 480. You can use it with the R1, but you cannot plug this in, say, to your phone or to your PC and use it as like a DAC itself. You cannot do that. But I also know that, like, not a lot of people use their music players as like a DAC anymore. Like, maybe I'm just a weird one here, but it's still a feature that I'm still sad that it wasn't included in the R1. Now let's finally talk about the UI, because I don't know, I've been showing like the thing here since the start, but new UI, and I can vouch for it because I'm gonna try to open this one right now as we talk about it. But this is the HIBY R3 Gen 2, and this has the older UI, and as you can see here with the new UI, pretty vibrant, very colorful, and very white. There is no dark mode yet. Maybe in the future, but I was told that implementing dark mode here is going to take a while with this new UI. They're thinking, like, you know, compatibility or like battery life is going to be a problem. And I told them, well, it's a dark mode. Come on, it's literally, dark mode is what people choose so that their battery life could be improved. But light mode is all that we have right now, but you can change the colors or the themes of the icons right here with whatever color you want, I guess. You basically get the whole hue and luminance here, no saturation. No, I don't know if that's saturation or, well, my brain is not working for the colors, but you can have like 2 choices there, so whatever color that you want, you can technically have it. So that is for the UI. Let's just scroll around here. Oh yeah, and this is a pretty new thing as well for this UI, because in the R3 and all of their previous DAPs, when you listen to like music and stuff like that, playback failures, I don't have a SD card in this one right now. But if you play back here, it's just like a really small thing. But then for the R1, you get like basically this huge color thing, and it's really, really cool. I really like that because it makes it look more aesthetically pleasing to have the entire screen just fill it. However, there is no music playback but like the features up here, so like the Wi-Fi, the battery, you can't really see it anymore, which kind of sucks. But like, again, to be fair, it also looks pretty nice. And if you want to bring that back, just increase the volume. Now you can see it there. I mean, it would be nice to like have it there, but scroll down. Literally, just scroll down. I think that's the perfect time to talk about it, actually. The drop-down menu has now been revised to actually be functional. Yes, thank you, HIBY, because I'm going to show you the old one, if I can just like, and this is the problem, right? So let's say, oh, it's too dark or it's too bright, whatever. How are you going to get by trying to get to the brightness? Oh, first you got to go back to the setting, go to the system, go to brightness, and bump it up there. That's a lot of processes for the brightness. You know why? Because on the drop down, that's the volume. That's not the brightness. That's the volume. Why do we need this? There's a knob right here. But HIBY listened. I don't know, maybe to me, maybe to everyone that's been commenting about it. But now, drop down, that's the brightness right there. That is the brightness right there. It is so much more functional now, and I love it. Absolutely love the fact that they did that. It is awesome, absolutely freaking awesome, and I really enjoy that. But you do kind of lose a little bit of customizability on the dot here, as you can see that, well, we don't really have a customization button here, but you can customize it back here in the system settings, and I believe shortcut menu. Yeah, there you go. The drop down or the pull up still there, and then you can choose whatever you want: MSEB, gain, crossfade, gapless feedback, blah 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 blah. So we get still a little bit of customizations for the DAP itself. Now we also got a little bit of new features here. So let's start with the music. As you can see here, once again, the little bit of a upgrade in, not upgrade, but like difference in the way that they presented the icons here. Again, once again, side by side with the R3. As you can see, it is more monochromatic, very icon-like, very Google material. But now here it's more lively, more I would say early 2000s music player kind of colors. But like that's what HIBY wanted. So anyways, going back to this, we have the settings here. Let's go here in a little bit, but we have the MSEB, update music database, blah blah blah, all of these stuff that you can find with their other music players. But then you see here, what is this? What is sound field? So this is sound field right here, and what this does essentially is like a slightly nerfed version of the Dolby Atmos, where it makes the sound more wide and increases the soundstage. And I'm not really a fan of these things, but it's really fun to play around and like a negative sound field, make it the most closed-in sounding thing, or just maximum soundstage for your headphones and IEMs. But I thought it's a really cool addition, and I'll share more about this once I've done even more testing. I'll say like what my favorite modes are and stuff like that. But that's one of the new features, that's sound field. Okay, well, what else do we have here? Yep, basically everything that you have here. And then I believe it's also here. I don't know if it's here, but we'll just play some music and I'll show you what I mean. So let's go back to Takadamish here. And it's a little bit hard to see here, but in that little tiny corner right above the like button, let's like the song, because obviously Amnesia, Radiohead, always a heart. There's this tiny AB thing here in AB read mode, where basically it allows you to AB your headphones with this DAP, like repeating a specific passage. Just keep repeating and repeating and repeating so that you can hear the differences between, you know, like the sound. And I thought that is awesome. I thought that's really cool that they added it. I know it's not really something that most people would actually use, but I thought it was cool. So kudos to HIBY for thinking about that. And then let's go back into these settings. As you can see, we also have a little bit of the usual speed play, auto slide, playback on feed, repeat function, etc, etc. Oh, the repeat function is the one I was talking about earlier. So if you want to activate that, it's called repeat function. There you go. So going back into this, you might see here that there's a book mode. It's kind of useless because if you look at the books, it's just text files. So there's really not much, in my opinion. Like, it's not really actually a book mode. It's more like a text reader. So kind of useless. But tangent there. Let's go back to music. As you can see here, we have the usual suite of all of the music that you have here, all listed out. And then you have the files here for SDG and SD card and OTG. And then you have the albums, which is my favorite one. And as you can see, as we're scrolling by, it loads much faster now compared to something like the R3, where it took a long time before it loaded. Some of them are still loading a little bit slowly, but like, to be fair, it's also probably a limitation of the processor itself. But I mean, it's okay. I'm not really too nitpicky about that. More songs is definitely going to be more challenging to get this to work. And some of my songs don't have an album art on the metabase or metadata in it anyway, so it's not showing up here. But as you can see, they're showing up. Just have to give it a little bit of a time for it to work. And then you have the artists, as usual here. You get to scroll through the artist and their albums, as you can see. Unlike their, I forgot which DAP it was, but one of their DAPs had it alphabetically arranged the songs in the album, which I thought was weird. But this time around, it's a lot more normal. It's going chronological based on the album itself. Yep, there you go, there you go. Oh, but you can pick out all of the songs itself. Oh, that's not a good example. So let's go for Globular with his 2 albums, and you can see, as you can see. Oh, there you go. It is now the entire discography of the artist of your choosing, but in alphabetical order. So that's the alphabetical order and not album order. I don't know if you can change it. I don't think you can, because now we're back here. So if you want to listen to their discography, you're gonna have to listen to them on shuffle and not chronologically, or alphabetically. But it's weird. So there you go. We have genres here. Not really too useful for me, because a lot of the genres I have, or at least the songs that I have mixed genres, so it's not really going to work out. And then album artist. I never understood what the difference between album artist and artist is, but I guess it's kind of similar to this one. So that is it for the music part. And then the stream media, once again, do more conclusive tests with this in the future. Wireless, as you can see here, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, import music, DLNA, AirPlay. Don't use these two. I'm still yet to use these two. I use these two, so I've tested those. Works pretty well. Bluetooth works pretty well as well. I really enjoyed my Bluetooth experience with this, even though it's just 5.1. It's pretty stable. Didn't have any issues. And then Wi-Fi, just 2.4 gigahertz. It's having it's struggling trying to find Wi-Fi in this room. But to be fair, in this room you barely get any Wi-Fi anyways, so respectable. And then let's take a look more. The book mode, already checked that. And then the system. Now, there's not a lot of new things here in the system from what I remember. Yeah, basically nothing except for this thing, which I'm going to talk about very soon in the sound section. And then just the about page, you can see, yeah, that's it. And now I mentioned the developers option here because now we're going to talk about sound. And for the sound of the R1, I would like to preface this, and I'm probably going to make a video about this again, about how the R1 has a volume lock. Yes, it has a volume lock. If you go here into developer options, this is not going to show up like default on stock. I just found out about this as I was like fiddling around the DAP and just like my knowledge about like going through different like options and stuff like that. But if you like, I'm gonna link the video down in the description. That's the first R1 video that I've ever made. But if you have that volume lock and you try to bump up the volume, right? Let's go bump up the volume right here. It's only locked to 54. And I thought, that's kind of weird. Why is it just locked to 54? And I was digging around and I asked around and they said it's a legal limitation for China and EU that limits the amount of power output out of the box that music players can have to avoid injury and damage. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no way to get rid of this or bypass this lock because dun, 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 volume lock, and now you can go all the way to 100 and basically bypass all of the issues that you may have had with the volume lock. And now with that out of the way, this is a surprisingly powerful DAC. No, like seriously, with the volume lock, I was a little bit worried because like the power was a bit like lackluster, as I would say. 54 volume was genuinely like pushing it already, but this once it was unlocked was perfectly fine. I could drive like most IEMs that I could with this. It was perfectly adequate and it was really, really nice. However, I will say that it's still not enough for the really hard to drive stuff like planar IEMs, bigger headphones. It's not going to be enough. Obviously, 70. I don't think I talked about the specs of this, but this has a nominal output of 70 milliwatts and a maximum output of 101 milliwatts. That's about 1.5 VRMS. So if that's not enough for you, then obviously it's not going to be that. But like I said, you can use an external dongle DAC here, as you can see as I'm constructing this really fun Lego piece right here. Go here, read there, USB audio device connected, because you can use, and I've done battery testing here. And before we continue with the sound, I forgot to mention about the battery. This is gonna get you what they advertised, which is 15 hours of playback on 3.5, and that was on high gain as well. 15 hours. 2 hours of charging. But what they didn't say is how long it's going to be with something like a dongle DAC, which I found to just be well around 4 to 5 hours, which is much, much, much lower than the 15 hours on just like the thing itself. But I did use 4.4 on my listening impressions, and I did go over, I think, 50 volume. I'm going to clarify it on my post. I think I posted somewhere, but it has breached 5 hours and not more than that in my listening impressions. So again, that's the battery. Going back to the sound, my first impressions with this was it's surprisingly really detailed and transparent sounding. Like, I didn't expect it to sound as crisp and detailed as it is. Maybe it's just implementation of the 43131 DAC, but it's just very, very well detailed. It emphasizes the high end, the treble, the sparkly bits, and makes the low end, the bass stuff, just a little bit tighter. I thought that was pretty awesome. However, that also means that this isn't really the best fit for brighter IEMs. What this is the best fit for, though, is warmer IEMs. My goodness. So, in my testing, my favorite IEM so far are two IEMs. This, the Keyfine Delchi, which is a pretty warm IEM, very well tuned, but you know, it can get a little bit warm, and it sounds so good on this. This is one of the first few IEMs that I listened to the R1, and I have zero regrets whatsoever. And the next IEM, this brand new release by Keyfine, which is the Keyfine Clean. And this is an even better fit, in my opinion, because while the Delchi is, you know, good, but the treble is a bit of a problem piece for me. The Delchi's smooth in and out, and it brings back the detail. The R1 brings back the detail for the Delchi, sorry, the Clean, the Clean, and it just exemplifies just how good Keyfine tuned the Clean, and again, the Delchi. And for not so good pairings, first and foremost, I have to say, KZ PRX. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? Planar IEM, 92, 93 dB of sensitivity. It's not going to work out. Sorry, it's not going to work out. And another new IEM, the Dunu DK3001 Brain Dance. This is a very bright IEM, and the mid bass is very lean, and this does not pair well with it. It looks good together though. Like, just look at it, dude. That looks amazing together, but it doesn't sound good together. So, you know. Now for like short comparisons, I want to talk about I don't have it right now, but the HIBY'S Music M300, because these two have a very similar sound signature where the emphasis is on the treble over the bass regions. And you know, the M300 is a little bit more powerful and just a little bit more dynamic, but they have a very similar presentation. And you know, if you like the M300 sound, you're gonna love the R1 sound. And once again, the R3 Gen 2, different price categories, different technically target demographics, R3 is better. Like, that's not, like, no question. But there are some upgrades and new features on the R1 that the R32 doesn't have, so that's worth considering. But what, 4.4 balance, over 400 milliwatts of support, 2000, I think, milliamperes battery. You get much more from the R3 than the R1, but that's like, what, from twice the price. So what do you expect? And yeah, I would say that to conclude, this is a really awesome music player. I love it. I love it so much. I initially had problems with the volume, but once that was resolved, I have very little to complain about this music player, honestly. Like, maybe, I guess, build quality could be better. The buttons don't feel as satisfying, but like, yeah, that's whatever, that's fine. Build quality, I don't know. Like, I really can't think. For $85, maybe you can complain about the power output, maybe you can complain about the lack of 4.4, but this has a bunch of features that a lot of like cheap music players, non-branded or like non-popular brand music players just doesn't have. So the fact that HIBY was able to achieve this for $85.99 for basically the full package of a music listening experience minus the music itself, dude, I can't think of a better entry-level music player than this. And you know, I'll share more and more impressions about this and more details about other features about the DAP in the future, but as it is right now, this is an amazing music player and I highly recommend it. So if you're looking for an entry-level music player DAP, this is wonderful. So thank you so much for watching my review or my impressions on the HIBY R1. If you like my content, consider liking this video. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe and check out Audio Notions, check out my socials, join the Discord. And with that, obodio out.